Of course I can. Apologies to anyone else that's asked for a Chevron video the last 6 months. It's just, yeah, I finally got time anyway. I've had a bit of time to cut some Chevron down. And yeah, so when it comes to Chevron, I've cut this one down to a 60 degree angle. It generally comes 60 degree or 45 degree, okay? So it means it'll be a bit more sharper, just be a sharper angle, okay? But this basis still works exactly the same no matter what Chevron it is, because Chevron still works to these vertical lines. So this will also work a treat for wet set installers and the pressure sensitive installers, okay? So for me, using wet set glue 99% of the time, I would have got to a point where my field, the big area, I would have kept going, I'd have a glue line here. So I'd have glued up to that line, that would all be glued in, and potentially on the top of the rooms, I would have actually stopped gluing to this point, okay? So this would be dry, this area would be dry. For you pressure sensitive guys, all this would be blacked out and lovely and sticky with glue, yeah? So, all good. To get the side cuts, you won't get a simpler way than this. Well, you might, but no, for me, anyway. Okay, so good old faithful sticky blocks. As you see in my videos, I always have a couple of these on the jobs because they come in handy. But when it comes to getting the side cuts, okay, I say if you've got pressure sensitive glue down, this will be even easier because you can lightly hold the planks in place. But for us wet set guys that don't, so without using anything extra, for instance, like a packer that I could use here, you see me always use something against the side, which then allows me to pack out back mark. Yeah, there's no guesswork here. I'm not trying to use my eyes to just line up on the edge of LVT. Yes, it can work, you can do it, but for me, it's just, I don't like guesswork. Messing around, I'm like, is it right? I just like to put something against the edge, factory edge, little sticky block. I know that's perfect. I don't have to think about whether it's perfect. I know it's perfect. So I would do that. All I've used there to back mark was the width of the chevron. So whatever job you're on, if you're using project floors or whatever, just use the width of the chevron to back mark yourself. And then we would look to do the cuts. So now, obviously this is going to live in there, but unless we heat and hook it, it's not going to fit. So we are going to put that against there. The only thing you need to just bear in mind is that this bit needs to be in line with that. So for me, if I was to do that, I'll just use something square that I've got on the job, get that in line there. Now I know that's in the right place. I could now carefully put that on there, cut, etc, etc. But I know for a fact when I cut this way, I might twist that. So to make life even easier again, I just use like sticky blocks where I can, because now that's locked in. Also, it means that if I put something upside down underneath, I'm now keeping all the LVT the same level, so I don't have to worry about the blade sort of twisting. And if I wanted to, you know, I'd add another sticky block there, or if I use like a full plank here with sticky blocks behind it, I could be running 3, 4, 5 cuts in now in one go. So once you've got the cuts in, I'm only going to do 2 because you can see I'm in a limited area. Once my cuts are in, I can now run along nicely along the wall. It's as simple as that. It's back marked using the width of the chevron. Chevron's even easier than herringbone. And then that will go in there. Nice little compression fit. But always deburr your cuts. The amount of people that don't deburr their cuts still. Yeah, lovely job. So now if we want to get this one, I'm going to show you getting the top cuts as well. When you get to this cut, right, and what I mean by this is this is the last skirting board cut on the side that I'm going to do. That's just one cut, if you know what I mean, because the next piece here will have a top cut and a side cut, so that's what I call like a double cutter. When you get to this point, and even with herringbone, you should do this always duplicate this plank, okay? So I'll quickly just set up. Again here, I'm just using a ropey old window packer here. Like if we wanted to, you know, use the stuff on site, because you know I'm a big advocate for always using what you've got. Bend a bit up. You need to be careful on this one because that's not locked in, but bend a bit up. Hold that there. Move our sticky block to there. Right, need a light one. Try and keep the colour pattern going. Just want to slide this up on here just to get it in the right place. Cool. Again, I'm going to go be a bit over the top here and put the sticky block there. So now that is locked in, I can, hook load, that ain't going to work. Ideally, I'd want a little bit of scrap to put underneath. So I'll just find a bit. There we go. So I'm going to cut this one. And remember, so this cut I'm going to duplicate. So this one will actually live there. If I wanted to keep the colour, the multicolour of this pattern going, and I'm going to now do a second one in grey, because then this one will be the one that will jump forward. That's my cut. Try not to get confused with your cuts. Put that underneath there. Right. So I'm just going to put this grey cut in first. Hopefully my big head's not getting in the way of the camera, guys. Sorry if it is. Bit of a nightmare, that's if you've got to film on your own. So I'm going to put that in there. Yeah, so I'm happy with that for now. To do this cut along here, what I would look for, if I've got it somewhere, that's the spare cut, put that there. I would now look for a piece in here. To run the top cuts in, what I mean by that, sorry, so just think, I haven't explained. To do the top cuts, it's just like herringbone. When we do the triangles for herringbone, it's the same for chevron. You need a template, guess what? The size of the point to point. So that equates to that, okay? And this is just for the top and bottom cuts. We could have used this on the side cuts if we back marked that width, but you don't need to, like I say, just use the width of the chevron. So with this, we might run a reference line along the floor. And the only reason I say for doing that is it is literally a reference line. So we could look at getting some scraps if we had any. So we could look at getting some scraps. That needs to be grey. Actually here we would want to change these colours over if you were doing this multi-pattern. A lot of you won't be, this will just be like a wood effect, so don't worry about it. You just cut through this. But if I want this needs to be grey, so I would actually have to duplicate what I've got, which is that and that. Better get it right, because we know the haters will be looking for something to jump on, right? And now I can do, what do I want that? So here, that was the line there, I think. So I'd just be looking for an offcut. Go a bit. So that, put that in there. Then we'd want a bit of grey. Good old cars, double Okay, and what do we need then? We need, is that the right angle? Ideal. Perfect. Right, so now we've filled in that over our reference line with our template. I haven't checked this is the right size yet, I've just cut it, so hopefully it's all good for the demo purposes. So then we're just going to come along now, all of this, it's going to go through into the corner, cut all the way along. And now this, technically, will all jump forward. Let's see if it works out. So replace that. That'll be an oak one. And then a grey one. This is the duplicated cut from earlier. Fingers crossed that's good, and it is. So it'll just be a case of now scoring and snapping the bits. I may well speed this part up for you. That cut there is a tiny little bit short. Knife might have slipped through, not too sure what happened there, but I'll change that. But apart from that, yeah, that is how you make chevron very, very easy. Let me know what you think. Like, share and follow.